I guess there are two layers of change. There's the change in the world, the technical change, and then there's the change in the mind that needs to precede the change in the world. And so at a human level, you know, one of the things we do in the book, The Imagination Machine, is talk about the different personalities that are required at different stages in the process. So you need some sort of visionary at the beginning that has an idea and a story and a narrative to sell. You need somebody to work the idea. That's usually a very sort of conceptual person. You need an empiricist, an entrepreneur to collide the idea with reality, to observe the sparks, and then to work that. And then you begin to need the persuaders, the salespeople to scale the vision. And then you need the engineers to codify things. So I think cognitive diversity is incredibly important. You need all of those types in the company. Now, the trap is that if a company gets successful and one model becomes routine and sticks around for too long, you get into the business of hiring people that just optimize the existing model and run the existing model. But you should never let the maverick talent, all of these other skills evaporate, because any company is going to need them again at some point in time.
And which, by the way, plays very well into your model about the four different areas a company can evolve into. Both you have the classical, the adaptive, the shaping, and the visioning, right? Which is where I'm paraphrasing what you're saying, but you're saying you have to find the right approach first. And 50% of companies, according to BCG, is not doing it up front. And that is the reason why they're struggling later on. Is that a fair assessment? Yeah,
that was actually my previous book called Your Strategy Needs a Strategy, which argued that the business environment is becoming more diverse. So we need not only different strategies, but different approaches to strategy in different environments. So very nascent, very entrepreneurial environments require a visionary strategy, the vision of bringing something entirely new to the world. That's one type of strategy. And then we have this very frisky stage where the technologies are changing, the regulations are changing, and we need a strategy based upon adaptive strategy. And then things become a little bit more fixed, and we need a classical strategy, more of a traditional sort of planning approach. And then in other environments, of course, it's not a single company that's reshaping an industry, it's an entire ecosystem, and that's a different type of strategy. So we argue basically you can't play golf with one golf club. You actually need five different types of strategy to play the game. And so essentially there's one new question to ask in strategy, which is, what sort of problem is this, or what sort of opportunity, and therefore what sort of strategy do I need before you go to the strategy process? So you could regard the book, The Imagination Machine, as a double click on this space of visionary strategy, which is going to be unleashed not only by technology, but I also believe we're in the early stages of a climate upheaval, a complete reinvention of business that is going to be at least as momentous as the digital revolution. So we need to be prepared for this again.
Okay, you know, fascinating. Sorry, you, Marshall?
Yeah, a couple of people I work with are in connected worlds. One of them is Jan Carlson. Jan just sold Autoliv to Qualcomm, I believe. And now it's interesting, Qualcomm is in the auto safety business, which would not have been a normal guess that Qualcomm would be in the auto safety business, but they are now. Another one, Aisha Evans, a wonderful person, is the CEO of Zoox, and Zoox reports to Amazon. And my friend Al Mulally is on the board of Alphabet. And of course, they have their own business too in the car business. How long do you think Volkswagen is going to exist? Or are they going to get bought by Amazon? Are they going to be bought by Amazon, Google, Qualcomm, somebody in the tech world?
Volkswagen has all the ambitions to reinvent itself and to thrive within this new context and environments. The race is on. I think Volkswagen is extremely well positioned. They're very strong in the premium segment from with Porsche and Audi, for example, but they're also very strong in the scale segment. And they're right now investing heavily and very much open to collaboration. There are many important new cross-industry collaborations taking shape now, which capture these trends. So I think the chances are very good. I think Volkswagen will stay Volkswagen. I'm pretty convinced. Actually, I'm willing to bet on that. Because don't forget, despite everything, in the physical world, you still need, at the end of the day, you need classic quality characteristics as well. You need the ability to scale autonomously. Volkswagen is very advanced in autonomous production, and they're building a huge new production facility now called Trinity Project, which would be the future of what some people call Industry 4.0. So the race is on, as always. Yes, there's never a guarantee. But I would say, given the open-mindedness that exists now and the many diverse strategies that are being pursued simultaneously, chances are actually pretty good.
And for all of you guys and girls watching out there, you probably noticed that George, just like me, have a little bit of an accent, which may indicate why he believes that Volkswagen will stay German. But just a thought about us talking about the whole idea of a search engine potentially buying one of these great car companies is just mind-blowing, isn't it? Okay, coming up, what do you do when you're deadly serious and basically burning for a cause, but you can't persuade your boss to change his mind? Well, our guests, in fact, one of our two guests, I won't recommend what he did, but he actually did something which was absolutely extraordinary, and it for sure did work. I just want to go back to you, George, because you are the man in question here. You worked at UN. First of all, how did you pull that one off? I mean, to set up that amazing venture within this very bureaucratic organization must have been I mean, you would tear out your hair, I think, in the end of the day, I could imagine.
Yeah, well, the phase one, and as we discussed before with Marshall, was during the golden times of multilateralism, where collaboration still worked very well. I was lucky enough to work for Kofi Annan, the only man on this globe whom I ever called my boss. I never would accept another boss. And I did a great speech for him, which was lucky. And he delivered a speech at the World Economic Forum, and we made the front pages of all international newspapers in Asia, in North America. And I thought, job well done. That was the first part. But then I was given the challenge to translate this lofty speech into a real initiative. And that's where the problem started, because the bureaucracy wasn't very conducive. So I did whatever was necessary. And at one point, I threatened suicide, to jump out of the 38th floor of the UN building if I didn't get my way, so to speak, in creating it, to overcome the barriers of the bureaucracy. And then that kind of, it worked to some extent. The boss agreed to allow me to build something completely new, which usually requires a General Assembly resolution, you know, impossible, with executive power. And he put out his neck for me. And with the help of many friends then, such as Martin Revis, who has helped me from the beginning with the Global Compact, we could build a thriving global initiative with many country networks around the world. Hard work, building networks.